All right, we're actually recording our first podcast. This is crazy.
This is exciting. I got
I know.
goosebumps.
I'm like super excited right now. You
I
know?
know. Try not to just smile like an idiot the whole time. It's like nonstop. Just yes.
Yeah, getting a podcast up and going is actually a lot of work, man. It's a lot of stuff that goes into it, a lot of thought, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're planning on doing it and streaming at the same time. But anyways, here we are. First podcast ever. We're Craved Gaming Podcast, everybody. We are, a new podcast. We're coming up. We're pretty much just going to be, choosing a new game. It's a weekly podcast. We're choosing a game every week, and we're going to play it to the best of our ability. Get to know everything that's happening about this game, do some lore background checks and everything, unless we already know it, of course. And we're pretty much just going to go over everything about the game itself to all of you listeners and viewers out there, and just kind of give you our opinion, our what we like, what we dislike, what we wish could be changed. If there's ever a future game that we wish, like, what we would put into it, just random stuff. And um, my name's Chase, also known as Crisp Eclair, through just about every social media platform out there, including Twitch. And I'm here with my good buddy Ross. Ross, say hi.
What's up? Yeah, I'm Ross. I'm also known as Pie Flavor on probably just Twitter and Twitch. Still have my own personal stuff to me, but who knows? Maybe if I get popular enough, I'll make more pages, more accounts, all the spam accounts. It'll happen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this being the first podcast, I feel like it's definitely justified that we pretty much, I say, we go over ourselves. We tell everybody exactly what's going on, because once when people listen to this podcast in the year 2025, and we're living large and everything with a
Right.
5 year podcast, it's awesome.
A million
That's
followers.
yeah, 1 million followers. We're kicking it good. Then we'll be able to look back on this and just be like, people will go back through the archives of 5 million podcasts that we've done, and they'll be like, oh, that's who these people are. So I'll let you go first, man. Go for it.
Oh, yeah. I said I'm Ross. I've been gaming pretty much my entire life. One of the first video games I actually ever played was the original Doom. Yeah, I started with the original Doom, and then my sisters had the Nintendo Entertainment System. And we got Nintendo 64, and I just started going through all the games. That's kind of where I found my love of video games. Was there's a lot of horror games. Resident Evil was out. Resident Evil 2 was actually out on the Nintendo 64. That was the first time I got to play that one. And just the because like there's at that time there was like horror movies, and that was kind of scary. But to actually be in control of something just terrifying was just a whole other world of scary. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much how I got into gaming, and then it's followed me into adulthood. I play everything from like Skyrim to Call of Duty, but I do love specifically horror games. Um, One thing I'm not super big fan of, unpopular opinion, are sports games and racing games. Like I like it. I get that there's like a whole audience for that, but not my cup of
Mm-hmm.
tea.
I agree. I'm on that same boat with you.
Yeah, the lonely boat that we are.
Yeah, it's funny. I love football, but I hate like playing those Madden games, and like it's something that I just never got into.
Dude, I just get destroyed by like a 12-year-old that can't even take peanut butter because his braces are so tight, and I'm just so infuriated.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much what I got for me. What about you?
For me, man. So, like I said, my name's Chase. I've been playing games since I was probably like able to hold a controller. My brother and my dad, they play a lot too. Pretty much grew up just playing them. Got in trouble a lot because I played too much. I was also the kid who, was told to go to bed at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, and got caught from my parents staying up until 3 a.m. playing games on a school night because they were they were dumb enough to let me have a TV in my room. Bad choice, Mom and Dad.
Well, it was actually a smart play because back then the TVs would actually still glow because they would be warm like when you just turn them off. They would catch you every time. That's how I got in trouble. The TV would still be glowing. I'm trying to pretend to be asleep, and then the bed's still moving before I just dive bombed into it.
Yeah. But no, I grew up playing, what was it? It was probably Nintendo 64, Mario. And what's funny about that is I actually don't even like playing Nintendo anymore. Like, the Switch is just not my cup of tea because I've gotten so advanced into all of this that I play a lot more high-end games now. Call of Duty, Halo, but I also love playing horror games and all that stuff too. I just play a mass variety of like every game out there except for sports, racing, and strategy because I also don't like strategy games very much. But yeah, ever since I was a kid holding that controller, man, I just love playing it. I've always wanted to. I used to want to be big into playing games, but never got good enough to do it. I just never had the 8 or 9 hours of free time a night to actually get that fix in that you have to be a professional gamer. And yeah, that's about it, man. Now I just play a lot of Call of Duty. I play a lot of we play Phasmophobia. We play random games like Raft or The Forest or like today we're talking about Doom, the Doom series. We've been playing that for a few years now, and it's
one of my favorites.
Yeah, I just bounce back and forth, between a bunch of different games. If I hear a good one, I'll probably buy it, and I will go for it and see what happens. If I don't like it, I won't like it, but at least I tried.
I'll try anything once.
Yeah, right? My favorite types of games to play, I definitely would probably say first-person shooters, although they make me the most mad. But I also really like linear story games. Like first-person linear story games, which is why we start this entire thing off with Doom 2. It's about as linear as it gets, and about as easy as they come.
Just one objective.
Yeah, kill. Brutalize everything in sight. There's no good people, it's just bad.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about, casualties. It's just eradicate.
Yeah, but I will say, though, on top of all that, I think my favorite game I've ever played would have to be, oh man, dude, it's a tie between quite a few because Jak and Daxter's are amazing, Ratchet and Clanks are amazing.
Blast from the past.
What is it, Insomniac? Is that what it was? Oh, those were awesome. Those, but then you got Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's so good. What are yours? What are some of yours?
Dude, again with the horror, so my favorite, I was really obsessed with Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Silent Hill was my favorite game throughout my childhood, but when the Dead Space series came out, that was like, The first Dead Space I loved was a lot of like jump scares. They've had the one dude that was dead in front of your first save station, like that's a cheap shot. I'm never gonna trust you ever again. and then the second one, it got even better because it was all psychological horror. Because at that point, spoilers, he was going through so much mental stuff that he didn't know what was real and what was fake. And I'm not going to talk about the third one because I hate it. Because EA took a dump on it.
See, the third one, it definitely was the worst, but I do like the co-op aspect of it.
Yeah, the co-op aspect was nice. It was just that you could tell EA was like, ooh, this series is doing good. How can I ruin it? And so I was just not too happy with that.
And Hey You Video Game came in and said that when we're interviewing Joe Rogan, we'll need to know our origin stories. I like that too. We'll be up there one day. We will be.
Yeah, I will. Should I go ahead and kill my parents now just to have the better backstory, or should I wait?
I think that's a good segue into what's coming next. Setting the parameters of the podcast. That's probably a good next wave in. Just so everyone who is listening to this do understand that The maturity level on this podcast is going to be probably around the rated M. So yeah, 7. Just because we're not going to stop ourselves from cussing or making like dark jokes if we want to. Of course, it's going to be all within Twitch TOS because every podcast is going to be live streamed on Twitch via one of our channels. So even if you're just listening via like Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast, our attempt is to we haven't come up with a full schedule yet, but essentially the way our jobs do work, we will be able to set the a couple podcasts out because we all get our schedules a month in advance.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to make sure that we can have up to like 4 different podcasts at the right times. Hopefully Sundays will work out for all of us the best. And of course we're going to be in the just chatting section of Twitch. So, but you'll be able to catch the live stream. So far, we're just setting our expectations for Sundays around 7:30 Central Standard Time, the only right time zone that's actually out there. And all podcasts will go live on YouTube. So my channel's gonna be on there too. At the moment, it's my channel, but Crispy Eclair, of course, the same thing across everything. But it will more than likely just be something for the podcast itself. And so we'll probably get that name changed over to Craved Gaming Podcast for YouTube. But yeah, once we get this all settled in and everything, you'll be able to catch us live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and possibly Stitcher if it works out properly. So that's all the parameters of the podcast itself. We'll probably go over that just about every podcast just to reiterate that. But I'm going to ask Russ. How did we meet each other, Mr. Russ?
We met each other at the non-disclosed workplace, and I gave you my work packet. That's how we started. I was like, here, you can just copy this, and then that's how we became true best friends.
Yeah, we work at the same location, and he started 2 weeks prior, and so he had all of the training finished, and he's just like, hey, here's this, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take the easy way out. I may as well. Why not?
Training doesn't come to actually hands-on anyway, so I was like, just get through as quick as you can.
Yeah. It's having a work packet in our workplace is just absolutely dumb because there's no reason. It's all hands-on. But in lieu of that as well, this podcast is going to be ran by another co-host of ours. He's a buddy of ours. We all worked at the same place, but we have a little bit of different background with him. We'll go over that next week whenever he's actually on here. He had some family in town, so he's unable to make it today. It was last minute, and he didn't know that was going to happen. So he does send his apologies, and we definitely will get to see him on next week. But anyways, I think that's enough of that. I think the listeners want to actually listen to what this is about. A long enough intro, a long enough announcement section.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. We can get to the meat of it, if you will.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes.
Right.
All right, so we're getting into Doom 2016, or essentially the Doom series altogether. It's something dear to our heart, something we've played quite a bit. It's been out for a while. I'll let you get into the dates, times, all that stuff, because they all intertwine into a big storyline, is what you were saying.
Oh, and yeah. The universe is crazy.
Yeah, and we will definitely. I'll let you go over some of that because you know that just a little bit better than I do. Mm. So, get into it, sir. Go for it.
So Doom itself, for those that are living under a rock, Doom is you are I guess in the 2016 version, you are the great slayer, the warrior that hell fears the most. The demons hide from you, demon lords wish you never existed, and you are their worst nightmare. and it is beyond fun, causing them so much pain and misery. Um, the actual like the sort of lore origins of it is so Doom actually came out in 1993, the original Doom, and that story carries on into the 2016, even the 2020 that got released this past year. Doom Patrol, one big long storyline of how you can never really kill anger is the best way I can describe it. But my guy is so angry he can literally live even though he's supposed to die. He can have like one little hit point. It's actually a little feature that he gets in the later ones. But you're a you were assigned a kind of a BS job post because you punched your commanding officer was the original Doom storyline. And so you're stationed on Mars, and that's when all hell breaks loose, literally. And you go through all of Mars, then back to Earth, and then all the way into hell itself to stop the demonic invasion. And by doing that, you are sealed in hell, and then that's when 2016 kind of you are awakened from your slumber because there's a new invasion. And that's the one we're talking about today, because that's the brutalness, the anger, like you start to uncover what he is or what you are in that aspect, and you just get to have your way with a wave after wave of demons, and you have a plenty of arsenal to go through. That's the reason why I enjoyed it. I don't know about Chase, but it was definitely one of the arsenal, the weapons. It was so much fun.
I agree, man. So, yeah, the reason I enjoy the game is because of the brutality. Like, you don't have to worry about anything else other than just killing stuff. Like, for me, I'm an achievement hunter, though. That's my problem. Is I like finding collectibles. I like finding secret places. But essentially, this game is about as linear as it gets. If you want to, you can just go through the game, kill stuff, and move on to the next level if you want. I mean, there are certain places the game will guide you in the correct direction, but you just have demons spawning, and you have just an overabundance of ammo, and you just kill everything. You pick up new weapons along the way and just kill. And then whenever you run out of ammo and you just want to brutalize more, you melee them, and then you can do special, like, I don't know, special melees that just rip them apart, and it's blood and gore all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, even if you run out of ammo on your murder spree, you actually have a tool specifically that gives you more ammo in the form of a chainsaw. Not only can you just saw your way through a wave, you can also replenish your shotgun ammo. Convenient.
Convenient. It's as convenient as it comes. You know, you just pull out your nice chainsaw and rip someone apart. Chainsaw,
Oh, yeah.
of course, the chainsaw that they give you is a one-shot kill to anything except an actual boss battle, but it's fantastic. It's just awesome.
And very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
Especially because you'd have like the little, they're called possessed soldiers, but I just call them little peons. They'd always try and hide up their arm and it's right through and then just right into their abdomen. And it's so good. It's so gory. Those of Squeamish Heart should definitely not play it. There is no censored version. It is brutal.
Mm-hmm. And what? So this game, for all of you who don't know, this game was, I mean, obviously the one we're speaking of was made in 2016 because it's called Doom 2016. But on top of that, we're also talking just that most of the Dooms in general, but these two newer ones were made by, I want to say it was, the developer was ID Software, and it was Bethesda, it was the publisher.
Yep. So ID Software was actually they made the Dooms even way back when so their very first, I think it was one of their first games, if not their first game that put them on the map, was Wolfenstein, which was real similar except for Nazis, and then they pivot over to a modded version with demons, and that became Doom. And then when ID Software was going under, Bethesda bought them, if I'm not mistaken. That is from the article I read, not a credible source. That is just what I read.
Yep. And I think that is right. And what I do know too, one thing that really got me, like one thing I really like about this game also is the fact that it is on every platform. So no matter what platform you're playing on, Doom is available for you. So it's not you're not left in the dark if you have a Nintendo Switch. You can buy it on the Nintendo Switch. And I mean, I think definitely that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, Bethesda, if for those of you who also don't know, Bethesda's the maker of like your Elder Scrolls games, um,
Fallout.
Fallout, Wolfenstein. I think is a Wolfenstein part of that.
Wolf was ID, so technically now yes,
Okay.
but
Okay.
before no.
But yeah, I mean, you have your let's look, your Pirates of the Caribbean stuff if you play those games. Yeah, your Elder Scrolls, the new game Prey that came out in 2017, The Evil Within, Dishonored, Rage. Mm-hmm. But yeah, their big ones are definitely going to be your Fallout, your Elder Scrolls, your Doom, games like that.
Oh yeah. I was overjoyed when I heard that they were buying ID software. I was like, yes.
Yeah. So Doom is definitely something that's dear to my heart as well, just because I am a huge fan of Bethesda. I am Elder Scrolls and Fallout guy all the way. And what's awesome about Doom is it being just a story-based game and not a huge like open world game. Is there's way less bugs that came out with it at launch. Way less, if any, to be honest, being a story game.
I didn't find a single bug. I think I had one episode or one little incident to where I went to jump up, like I jumped, and he just started climbing a random object, and then I was inside of a wall, and then I died. That was all that happened.
Well, if you call dying a bug, then yeah, I accidentally missed a jump one time and fell into lava. A bug killed me. Dang.
No. The lava, you died from lava because you're bad. I died to a wall because I can teleport. I've already got
Dang. Call me out. Call me out, why don't you?
You've been added.
But I think what we should go over. We should definitely go over like our top things about this game that we think are awesome. Like what came out of this game that's just good. It's the amazing. Go ahead.
The probably the top tier was kind of like how you're saying, very linear, straight to the point. You are the guy. You are the hero. This is your battlefield, and you are in command of everything. You just go through and kill, and you don't even feel bad. Like at one point, you start feeling bad for them, but you soon forget it after they punch you in the face. It is just one kill after another, after another, after. It's just so fluid, and your like there's no slowdown. Once you're in a battle, you don't realize how long you're in that battle until finally there's like 100 dead bodies, and it's an hour later. You're like, oh, I should probably get off. So just how fluid the game seemed, and then the brutality of it was one of my favorite things. Like top tier. Finishers were also just super satisfying, 100%. And the weapons, 100% weapons. If you haven't fired a BFG, you have not lived.
I agree with that, man. I agree with all of those. Those are some very good, valid points. Now, some of them I think I would branch off a little bit, and we'll get into that here in a sec, as to why some of the branch offs of those to me might be bad, but we'll get into that. I think my favorite thing about this game, I'll name a couple. The movement speed. What I love and what kind of goes into the movement speed itself is this game can be casted in 4K. I want to reiterate that this game can be in 4K for sure, but they do not allow the graphical slowdown happen for the game itself. Like you can just plow through people so quick and so fast with no lag, no latency. no problems, and it just doesn't, the beauty of the game does not ever get detrimented because of the fact that you're killing 20 people on screen. Which, there's even games out there like Call of Duty who can't manage to do that because they want to put such great, amazing graphics into their game that it just doesn't work. And when you have 20 people on screen, it just freaks out and dies. And then on top of that, the brutality of it is just, I love it. I love just being able, so I'll say again, I've been replaying this Doom game, and I got to a point where, because throughout the game introduces you to harder and harder enemies. Obviously, that's just how the game wouldn't be fun if you face the same original possessed the entire game. It just wouldn't be fun. But I got to a point where I had to kill brutes, which if anybody plays any type of game like Doom or World of Warcraft, brutes have just a crap ton of health. That's what they're meant for. They're fast and they have that. But you are just able to rip its head off, crush its skull in, shove it against a wall, and just absolutely demolish it. And if I had a video of it, I would show it to everybody because I love the ability to have that. And that kind of goes in with the finishing moves as well. Is like, I think there's a limit to where it is. I think once an enemy is below like 10% of its health or something like that, they start glowing orange and blue, right?
Yep.
So once it starts glowing orange and blue, you're able to actually conduct a finishing move on these enemies. And what's awesome about it to me, and what I love is what the developers did, is they made it to where wherever you're at on the body, you're going to conduct a separate finishing move from where you're at. You can literally conduct a front finishing move, a back finishing move, a left arm, a right arm, an above them and a below them finishing move. And I think that's fantastic. What about you, Ross?
Oh yeah, the finishing moves. One of my favorite ones is can't remember what they're called now, but they're the bigger ones that have the horns, like the greater brutes. They're called something specific. I can't get the name right now. One of my favorite finishing moves is once you whittle his health down, he falls on a knee, you run over. You full on punch off the horn, pick it up, and then crack his skull with it. Now, if that's not creativity, I don't know what is. Another one of my favorite is I call it putting the foot in the mouth. He literally punches the guy down, snaps his knee, and then smashes his head with his own foot. That's poetry. That's just so good. The finishing moves are just iconic at that point. Like before, it was always the nostalgia of Doom, but then when 2016 came in, it was the finishing moves that just made it the piece de résistance, if I may. And, we are overlooking one of the best parts of the 2016, also the 2020, and that is the soundtrack.
Oh my God, I was gonna get into that last, but you go for it, man, because it's not the good, that's the great.
That's the beauty, I would say. The beauty of the game. If you can take one thing from this game and nothing else and it impact your life, the soundtrack. If it's not your workout playlist, it's your D&D battle music playlist, it's your pump up music playlist. This soundtrack is just bar none. And it's so good. So good.
It's amazing. The soundtrack that the amount of time the developers put into this soundtrack at the times that you get this amazing music, you had just done something awesome in the story, and once you start hearing this music, you know you're about to get hit by a boss or a mob or both. You don't know. But all I can say is you're so pumped up. Like, it doesn't even get you scared. It gets you pumped up and ready to kill more. Because it's just such a brutal game. And, I mean, you have like all these weapons that you're picking up throughout the game. Because they don't give you all, is it 8 weapons? All at the beginning?
Sounds about right, yeah.
8 or 10. They give you a pistol to start off with. And each of these... So there's 8 weapons altogether, including the pistol, but subtracting the pistol is 7. And you have the ability during your quest to go around and look for. There's these floating bots that carry upgrades. And once you get these upgrades, each weapon has 2 separate upgrade slots. Like the shotgun has a charging ability or a grenade launcher ability, and you get to choose. And each one you can upgrade both throughout the game. And so, but you find one weapon at a time. So like the first thing you get is a pistol. The first level you get a shotgun. The second level you get like an LMG or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to say it's an LMG, but then the LMG can be upgraded to have a rocket launcher on it. So you can just brutalize enemies, because that's the point of the game. And then, go ahead.
I was gonna add it. I was saying like, oh yeah, but like, Mike, because you reminded me on the LMG, you get those like little rockets that'll just start firing out. But each weapon has its own challenge. That if you complete it, it unlocks like a special perk for that upgrade. So like for the rockets, once you complete like, I think like you have to kill 3 enemies with one single like round of it because it shoots 6 rockets. You can it has like a bottomless barrel where as long as you have the ammo for the LMG, you can just like those Stinger missiles from 4th of July. Just put like 8 together, and that's how many you can shoot at once.
Can you do that noise again?
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
I love it. No, they said it. Everyone wanted to hear it again. It wasn't just me. It was,
okay, yeah.
Everyone
It's what
did.
the fans want. I understand.
Yeah, it's this game just has the like everything that goes into this game is just it's whether it's the upgrades, the moving on in the story, or getting another weapon. It's all just meant to add to the brutality of this game. And let me tell you, for any of you kids that are watching, no, there's not a don't show me blood option in this like Call of Duty has. There's not. Because you know what? These developers, they want you to see blood. Because if you're playing this game, you're 17 or older. And if you're not, then how about you just leave? Because this game's not for you. You used your mother's credit card to pay for a game on your custom-built PC or your little Xbox you got for Christmas. And let me tell you, don't ever do that again, because Doom is not for you. Blood is everywhere and will always be everywhere, and don't be those people who complain to Bethesda to get this removed, because you're the worst.
Who hurt you, Chase? This is real specific.
Oh my god, dude. You have no idea. You have no idea how mad it made me when Call of Duty, I think last year or 2 years ago, added the don't show blood option. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the worst.
I'm pretty sure it was because of the airport scene that there was so much of an outcry that they were like, fine, we'll tone it down a little bit. I'm like, the whole point of the game is to show the bad part of war.
Mm-hmm.
Man, terrorism is a thing.
And that's what this game is showing. The bad part of the year 2132.
With demons.
With demons and going to hell and
and
chainsaws and like going to hell and stuff, Or sorry, going to heck if we're going to start doing bloodless Doom.
Right. Right, where it's just a glitter gun and the demons are... You turn the demons into bunnies. That's the
worst.
World.
It's the worst.
That's the world Karens want.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Don't let Karens change our game.
But I think with the ending of the soundtrack piece, unless you have more good things that you have to say about it, I think that's about where I'm at on the good on my end.
One last good thing for me, and it was only good if you played the other Dooms. Each level has the Easter egg of one of the levels from the older Doom. So like randomly in the levels there were levers that you could pull, and they would open some kind of secret wall where you could go in, and it would be like the older levels, the soundtrack and everything would kick in from the older Dooms. And you would be able to play that level from the older games, but with the updated monsters and weapons and everything. And let me tell you, it was really... Some of those levels are pretty hard, because, like, you don't have the upgraded parts. You only have certain weapons that it gives you for that level. And I think there was one level that took me, I died like at least 20 times trying to beat it because I had no armor, I had the bare minimum health, and
Probably that maze level.
yes, it was the maze level.
It's terrible,
I do know
dude.
what you mean.
It's terrible.
It was rough, but that was probably the last good thing that really stuck out with me, and that was the nostalgic for oh hey, these are related. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually completely. I'm glad you said that because I forgot to write that down because I thought about that today too. So not like just a kind of overview about that. When he says old levels, like we have a 4K game, and this will open up a door to literally 8 pixel levels or 16 pixel, whatever they were. Like you'll see a 4K game just completely turn into 8 or 16 pixels or whatever,
Yep.
and yeah, that's where you're at on that, and it's really weird because you'll have all these like updated characters and updated everything except the weapons and armor and the actual like surrounding area to you is 16 pixels or whatever the heck it used to be. I don't know, 8 pixels.
Yeah,
It
it was
was.
8 pixels because this was like on a floppy disk. If anyone can remember what those are.
I think that's a sexual term on Urban Dictionary now. I think it's more used. I think it's more used on Urban Dictionary
No!
than it is for computer usage.
God, that's rough. Because like floppy disks were like this big. No, probably bigger. Like yay big, and it would hold like this thing will hold 4 megabytes, and I'm like this flash drive that is this tall or this big holds 512 gigabytes.
Man, you're old.
God,
Just for the record, she's like a year older than me.
so I'm almost 30. I can't even say it.
Not even. Not even. So, of course, what I do have to say, unfortunately, this game, although we've pumped it up quite a bit, it does have some bad, though, right? There is a little bit of bad that does come with it, and I'll let you start on that.
So, what really hurts me the most is it was a good game, but not every game is without their flaws.
Hey, I'm going to let you do this. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
No, you're good. So this for me was something I do run into with a lot of these games that yeah, it's real action oriented. There is a story, but it's always in the back of your mind. Any sort of cutscene you see is just like, oh, I remember we're doing something here. Yeah, that makes sense. So during the combats, yeah, there's a lot of different enemies to add variety. But when you're on like level 8 out of 12, it's the same thing. Hallway, demon. Big room, lots of demons. Hallway, demon. Hallway, 2 demons. Sometimes they mix it up. And then big room, lots of demons again. Which, I mean, yeah, it's fun, but it's super repetitive. That was one thing that was for me. Sometimes I felt like at some points it could be too easy. Like you had to play in like the hardest difficulty. Because you throughout the game you can get like these little abilities called runes, which would add like your finishing moves gives you additional health. Well, for me, it gave me armor because that's a no-brainer. Just max out your armor and you never have to worry about losing that much health. So, because it would give you both armor and health. So, for me, like that was one thing that really bothered me was it could be really repetitive, and then sometimes it felt too easy unless you were on Nightmare, and then it was like ridiculously hard. It's like going from you start off at a 1, then you go to a 5, and this is out. Let's say it's out of 20, so 1, 5, then 10. Then Nightmare is like a 45 out of 20. You just die in like one hit. If you have no armor, certain enemies can just look at you, sneeze, and you're dead. It's hilarious. But it can be really, really frustrating if you're just like, I want a challenging game, but I don't want to I don't want to get just dead from one thing. I want to be dead from multiple things. That was just like one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit. Also, I guess for me, I am blind. I'll admit that. A lot of times the jumping puzzles were just like It's, can I get like a glowing beacon or something? Like, because like there are times I would literally just jump on walls and then start climbing and I don't even know what I'm doing. Just like, I guess I'm going here now. And but that was it for me. Like for me, like the bad parts of it, it's repetitive, and there's either it's easy or it's just really hard. There's no in between of like a good difficulty. But
So yeah, I don't know if I'll, since I wasn't here for the whole thing, I might repeat what he said by accident. But I did hear, I do completely agree with the repetition. Now, like we've said already today, the brutality is awesome. It's fun. It's amazing. But with the game that ends up just going on about the same thing, like, yeah, you get more weapons, you get more of everything, but it does become repetitive because all you're doing is killing and doing the same finishing moves all the time. It's the same thing over and over and over. It's just every once in a while they throw in a mix of a different enemy at you. And then you just learn how to kill that thing quick, or at least attempt to, and then you do the finishing move, and then you see all 6 of those, and so you just get to see the same thing with how many enemies they throw at you. You just see the same thing so often, so much, and you're just like, okay, like, especially with like those original monsters that you see at the beginning, the original possessed, you're going to see those finishing moves a million times during your single playthrough of Doom 2016, because, you know, you kill so many of them. There's, 100 per level or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely it. And another thing to me is, although all these Dooms are connected in some way, shape, or form, I get that. I don't exactly know how they are. I don't read up on the lore of all that stuff and pay much attention to exactly how, something that was, 30, 40 years old connects to a 2016 game. Go ahead.
I'll explain that later. Go ahead.
Okay. But personally, I just don't know. So when it comes down to me thinking like that, it's just like the story is just too short and a little odd. Like, the way the Dune 2016 story goes is basically you're trying to stop. I'll make it pretty brief because I'll let Ross get into the actual nitty gritty of that piece. But you're basically trying to stop someone from opening a portal to hell. You fail. You go into hell. You stop it. And there's like 3 characters in there, including yourself, so 2 other people, basically. And all it is just like, hey, I need you to press this button on the other side of Mars.
Yep.
Work your way there. And then you get there, and then he's like, oh, well, the other button you were supposed to press is where you originally were. How about you head back there? And then you head all the way back there. And then it just becomes repetitive, and the story is just repetitive, and it's short too. You just don't seem like you're talking to many people because all they want you to do is just kill demons constantly, and that's how I am. And then another thing I didn't like per se is the fact that there's your health system. So there is a way to upgrade your health and your armor in the game and your ammo capacities by using, you have to find these dead Praetor armor soldiers. And it's part of the collectible system, so they are hidden in every level. Like, there's 2, 3, maybe 4 of them in a level, and if you go out of your way to look for them, you can upgrade your armor and stuff. Oh no, those aren't that. You find orbs.
Yeah, the Praetor suits tokens will give you like, I think it's like environmental damage from like explosive barrels.
Yeah, you're right.
Your HUD will glow if you're near a secret. But the Argent energy things, I found those so quick.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, so the Argent energy, that's what I was thinking of, is you have to find those to even have a chance at playing the harder difficulties in this game. So I did hear the last piece of what he was saying, what Ross was saying there is, you either have an easy or you have a very, very, very hard. There's no in between. So if you're going to play this game and you're not achievement hunter, then just play on the easy difficulty to get the story, because it's just a lot more fun to just like brutalize people, and then if you just want to run through it, you're not going to die because they don't hurt you that much. Now, let's forget the fact that I said that I died in lava on the easiest difficulty. You don't need to mention that. That's okay. So I'm not the worst.
Also, did you notice the Easter egg when you do die in lava?
No.
Whenever you're going down, he gives a little thumbs up from like Terminator 2 or whatever.
Oh, I did not. My guy just like burned like this and just like fell over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I think if you like fall in lava like perfectly, he'll just like start going down and then he gives like a thumbs up.
nice. I didn't know that. Hey, what's up, Thanatos? Nice to have you here, man. Appreciate you coming by. But yeah, that's the thing is that with the health system they have in this game and the fact that you have to find these orbs and all that. But like if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, which is another bad thing that I think about this game, there's like a hard difficulty and then there's like a nightmare difficulty. Well, to play on the nightmare, you have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty first. So essentially, if you're an achievement hunter, they're forcing you to play the game twice, and it's like, why? That there's no reason that you should have to do that.
Not only twice, but twice, and then strip you of all the things you've earned.
Yeah. So essentially you play on the hardest difficulty, which is already very, very difficult. And then you're being forced to go back through the game on an even harder difficulty with, again, starting from scratch and do that again. And it just it's once again goes back to that repetitiveness. Is if you're an achievement hunter, you've just lost everything and had to redo it on the hardest difficulty. Now, of course, you have exceptions. You're speed runners who can just like hop, skip, and jump through a level and be fine. But of course, that takes a lot of practice. And I mean, personally, I love games like this, but I'm not going to play it on the hardest difficulty twice. That's just, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to look at the achievements. I'm going to try to go for the hardest difficulty original, or like at the beginning, and play through on the hardest if I can. And yeah, and then with the health and armor system to go with that, you just don't get enough to where, like you said, some enemies will stare at you and you're dead. Like, you just don't have enough health without having to upgrade it. And if you don't upgrade it, then you're screwed.
Oh, yeah. It does happen that way, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, essentially, there is a lot more good in this game than there is bad to me. How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, like if I was to like think about it, it's way more pros than cons, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I would prefer to play a game like this myself. Like even though I can complain about it being repetitive, it's fun because it is repetitive. Like it's negative can also be a positive, or you know, having too little health or too little armor or whatever. I mean, for someone like me, I'll just play on an easier difficulty myself, or you know, just try to power through it. Oh, one more thing that I also didn't like about the game: they never tell you about what ammo crates you're supposed to pick up per weapon. Like obviously when you're looking at the ground, a shotgun shell looks pretty obvious. But like you see a magazine sitting on the ground, you don't know if that's for your LMG or your plasma rifle or whatever. You just have to learn that along the way. But if you're playing on nightmare difficulty or hard, you don't want to have the time to learn that. You just want to be able to see, oh, I have a plasma rifle, where's the plasma ammo? And it's like, oh, it's over there. Sounds good.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
I mean,
it was definitely, if you played the older games, you'd know, but just picking it up, you have no idea what it is. I always ran over everything just to double check.
Yeah.
Dude, like a lot of like the running around stuff was for the secrets was kind of. I think I already touched that too. Like some of the jumping puzzles, I'm just like so monotonous, so monotonous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, and the amount of the amount of patience you have to have if you are a collector in the game, it's tough because those jumping puzzles, like you could jump like 4 walls or something and find a collectible, and then they would store a collectible like 3 more jumps above that just to throw you off, thinking that like, oh well, I collected what's up here. now you didn't realize you had to go higher. It's really obnoxious sometimes to have to do that because they do not tell you where all this is. There's no, like I heard, a glowing beacon or any way of actually seeing that there's a jump there. You just have to test it and try it until you get the map overlay in the map, and then it will show you the whole map, and you're like, oh, I missed spots over there. It's gray.
Right.
But essentially, I mean, that's, like I said, I think there's a lot more good in a game like this than there is bad, because the game is built to be repetitive. It's built to be brutal. It's built to do that. And I do wish there was a longer story to it, but that's what Doom Eternal came with. You know?
Yep.
4 years after the release of 2016, Eternal came by, and you get your fix again.
And Eternal was super good. They fixed all, like I said, the jumping thing, the monotonous puzzles got even better when they added like the dash ability, and they kept adding things to where it was legitimately interesting. You had a lot of different puzzles. They had like customizable perks. Like a lot of it, they took Doom 2016, which was like good, but we had some issues with it, and then just made it better. Like if I had, like I don't think I had that much of an issue with Doom Eternal. The one issue I did have was just because I piss poor timing skills. The Marauders would always get me. I hated fighting those things so much. The guys with the shields and the shotgun, it was a whole other beast. But like I said, it was challenging but still fun because it was just like a boss or like I think it was a rare enemy, but when you fought him, you remembered when you. Which I think there was a lot of really good boss fights in the Doom 16 one as well. I think it was like 3 different ones, if I'm not mistaken. The Cyber Demon, and then I think I call them the Crucible Guardians, but I think there's called something else. And then you have the Mastermind. Spoilers coming up for those that haven't already played it. But like out of the 3, like the Cyber Demon is this super super tall behemoth thing that has a rocket launcher for one arm and a giant claw with the other. And his boss fight is pretty much you beat him once, and then by ripping out his heart, it opens a portal to hell, and then he goes to hell where he's revived again because now he's in hell, and you have to beat him a second time and like fully blow him up. that was a good one. That was probably my favorite one. Out of all the 3, the Crucible Guardians were really, really tough, but more annoying tough than like fun tough. And the Mastermind was exactly what you expect on a final boss. Monotonous, fun, satisfying at the very end.
And like 3 parts to him because you'll get his health down, he'll figure something else out, and you'll have to face a different part of him or a different ability that he gains randomly.
Yeah, there's a lot of like hopping combat. You pretty much had to hop circles around because like the floor is lava, and you're just shooting.
Yeah, just casual.
Do you have a favorite boss one?
Yeah, to be honest, dude, we actually have the same favorite boss. I actually really enjoy having that Hell Demon, where you have to kill him twice, which, like I said, I never actually played this game on the hardest difficulty by any means, because I like to play it on the hardest difficulty, but I'm an achievement hunter, and I will never play it on the hardest and then try to beat it on the next hardest. If a game locks me out of an achievement to originally go through it with, I don't like that, so I just don't even care at that point. So on the easiest difficulty, that boss was just a lot of fun because it was just blasting and explosives, and then you kill him. And if you don't know what's going on the first time you play through, you have no idea you're going to face this dude twice. So then you face him a second time, and you're like, okay, let's do this. And then the music, the soundtrack is my favorite on that boss, too. It is so fun. I just enjoyed it a lot. The Hell Slayer, the Hell Guard, that's what he was. It's called the Hell Guard. Yeah, because, he guards hell. That's probably the point of that. That'd be my guess. IQ, 1,000 IQ move right there.
not wrinkled, but not full on, like you have so many folds in your brain.
But yeah, I mean, on top of that, I think the only downfall this game really ended up having, like, massively, I was not a fan of the multiplayer. If you want to speak on that, I'll let you.
That is where we will agree to disagree. Because that was the same multiplayer that we were already used to in the old Dooms, and same with Quake. Very, very fast paced, and you just have to be really, really quick. Because it's not like Call of Duty, it's not like Halo. It's everybody's speed is maxed out, and you're just running. And a lot of the combats are just like ninjas. You're just bouncing off walls, all in air. Nobody shoots on the ground. If you're on the ground, you're dead. It's all just jumping, hopping, skipping, teleporting, everything. It's super intense, really, really satisfying. Especially because you can glory kills and finishing move the other people too, and you can customize your own guy. Who doesn't want to run in a brightly orange and purple suit, just cutting people's heads off left and right? That was my thing from it. I love the multiplayer, but that's because I was used to it. If you're not used to it, you're gonna have a bad time.
Mm-hmm. See, I think I may have had a bad time just because the people I was playing against, they just seemed to have just been God-given gift at this. Like, they were so good, it was not even funny. I died and it was like 0-20. 2, I do not care whatsoever about customizing my character. Don't care. Not my thing. I'll have the original stuff up until I'm like level 1000. Don't care. And it's just like the fast-paced movement of this game, I just feel like no other game has anything like that, which does make it unique. I get that, which means it's going to have its own separate entity of having people who enjoy it. But it just like its own audience gets that type of gameplay. But I just don't like how fast-paced it is because the maps are tiny.
Oh yeah.
So you're flying around a map that's almost like what's that Halo map? There's like one base and then a river and then another base.
Blood something?
Blood Gulch Bay. Thank you. So I think that's right. And if I'm wrong, please tell me. Because it's like flying around on that map, but at like triple the speed of a Spartan. You are just gliding through the air like it's nothing. You'll get from one side of the map to the other in like 3 seconds, if that.
I think the smallest map I can remember was Halo 3, the Guardians map.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't get it because it's a 6v6 and you're just getting annihilated because every time you move, there's another person right around there.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Very good. That's the best part about the podcast. We can talk about things we like and things we don't like, and sometimes the when we don't agree, it's even better because we get to share both perspectives.
No, I'd rather you just agree with me. So there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, our podcast had a good run. 1 out of 1 episodes. That's it.
So I will. Finishing thoughts. You go first.
So, if we were rating the game on a 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. By no means a perfect game, but what it brought was just pure and simple joy. Not super high on a replay value, very linear, progressive storyline. But it's super fun, and then you play it, and then you're really satisfied at the end. So that's why I'm saying 8.5. Not a lot of replay value, but you do enjoy the whole trip you're going on. That'd be my one.
I like it. And yeah, I mean, I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 8, or to 8 out of 10. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 if I can talk. Because yeah, like you said, I mean, if we're looking at just like the single player aspect of it, if something like that is what you're looking for, it's solid, man. It's a solid game because there's like you said, you're the good guy and the bad guy. There's nothing else in the game that you're gonna do. There's no good guys that you could accidentally kill and ruin the game. You almost never see another person face to face in the game, so everything you see is just killable. You know, the upgradability of your weapons, like the things they give you, the extras. It's really cool. The loot, the enemies, like the creativity that Bethesda and ID put into this game. The reason I'd say a downfall as an overall game is personally that multiplayer brings it down quite a bit for me. If they had larger map selections than they actually do, maybe that would be worth it. Or, I don't know, it's the weaponry and the map system and the speed of all that, it just doesn't add up to a decent multiplayer in my eyes. But it does grab it. It does grab its certain audience.
Yeah, we get it. You're bad. We understand.
Hey, man. Hey. 1v1 rust me, bro. Snipers only.
You want to do that right now? Oh, it's snipers only? Oh, okay. No, I was thinking Doom.
Oh, no.
You want to get clapped again. We can get clapped again.
I'll backtrack here for 1 sec, because I actually wanted to say that. I'm glad that got brought up. I do wish Doom had a sniper in it. A quick scoping sniper or something of the sort, because I know you can get a tac rifle on one of the weapons, but I'd rather it just be a single bolt, like just sniper rifle. Just like, oh, I see this dude across the bridge, boom, dead. Easy. That'd be fun. But no, I'd give it at least an 8. Yeah. Because I like, personally, the repetitiveness of it. And of course, this is a podcast about a video game, right? So this is our own personal opinions on this. I mean, we're not IGN or anything. We're not giving you their rating. Yeah. I'm not a professional at this by any means. Y'all are getting my personal opinion. So I'd say a solid 8, just because, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of bad in there, but the bad can also equal good in some scenarios. It's that multiplayer that kills it for me.
It makes sense. 100% makes sense. I would agree with that one.
Yeah, and I do wish the storyline was a little bit more in-depth. Because you don't ever get another storyline aspect of it until you finish the quest you're on. Like, you have no lore behind it. There's nothing. You can pick up these dolls and there's nothing to it. It's just like, you finally get to the point, you pull the lever, and then the guy talks to you again until the next quest is done.
I think the only time you get snippets of lore in 2016 is when you get to hell and you start unlocking they're called the Slayer Testaments. Basically, from the demon's perspective, they tell about what the Slayer was like. He was, like, just kind of like the lore about it. And one of my favorite parts of the entire game, real quick, is in the very beginning when you first start the game. You're greeted with like this raspy voice guy who's like, they are wrath, or they are like, this is probably like they are wrath, they are fury, but you are worse, rip and tear until it's done. And that pretty much just sets the whole tone for it. You don't find out later till Eternal is when it ties everything together. Because the whole like I said, the whole story was back in the very first Doom that ever came out, 1993. You were this pretty much renegade guy in the military who punched his commanding officer. You were assigned a job in Mars. You go through hell and beat it. But what Eternal shows is while he was in hell, before he got sealed, he was met by these, like, I don't know, they're called, like, basically, like, they're what's in charge of our universe. They decide what lives and what dies. And they, basically, they found you.
It's like the Three Sisters of Fate or something like that.
Yeah, and they found you. They found you in hell just ripping all these demons apart, and you survived based on your fury. So they made you a suit and gave you abnormally like powers purely out of rage, so that you would be like, you are a warrior of rage designed to keep hell in check. And then Eternal is when you become sentient and realize, I don't have to just keep hell in check. I have to keep everyone in check. And then you pull out your twisted T, and you proceed to go through heaven, hell, limbo, earth, everywhere.
And twisted T it up.
Yeah, you twisted T it up.
Oh, that's funny. So, with that, I think a good way to finish this is, Mr. Ross, would you play Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal again?
I would play Eternal again, just because it's a little bit more fun. That one has a little bit more replay value. 2016 now. Once I beat it and I was like, I tried playing it again. Wasn't a whole lot of replay value on
And I could actually probably come to more or less the same conclusion. Is once you play Doom 2016 one time, the story's just so short and so simple that, I mean, you start the game back up and all those memories flood you again. You're like, okay, I know the ending to this. That's easy enough. And then, yeah, Doom Eternal just has a lot more complexity to it where it's like, okay, there's a lot more fun to this. It's a lot harder, a lot easier to play, and a lot more to it.
Yeah. The multiplayer on Eternal's pretty cool too, but that's a podcast for another day.
I say I actually haven't played the multiplayer for Eternal at all yet because I hated Doom 2016 so much. I was like, I just don't even want to try this. But
so it's actually like one souped up so it's a 1v2, but the two are different demons, and it's strategy based. So you probably hate it, but
I hate strategy.
A lot better than the other one.
I hate strategy games like Halo 2 or League of Legends. Those like bird's eye view, build this to produce this, build this to produce this to fight this off. I hate that.
Oh, like real time strategies.
Yeah, there you go, real time strategies. That's what I hate.
I don't hate them. I just horrible at them. I'm super impatient. I pee on rush every time.
Yeah. Well, to finish this off, Mr. Ross, tell us where we're supposed to find you at.
You can find me at Twitch and on Twitter at PieFlavor, PIEFLAVAH. Those are the two places you can find me. Always happy for a follow. I will start streaming at some point as well. You can also catch me with my partner, Princess Bayo. That's BEOW. She's on YouTube and she's on Twitch, but I know she's on YouTube. So you can give her a follow and you can find me on 7 Days to Die there.
And you can throw it in the chat, too, because the chat is up on the screen. This will all go on YouTube as well.
Oh, there we go.
And as for me, I mean, as you guys can see under here, too, if you guys are listening, y'all can find me on, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, anything like that. It's at Crisp Eclair. It's CRISP ECLAIR, and we'll be streaming on my channel. I think what do we decide? The Forest tonight?
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna play the Forest. Might switch over to Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I mean we haven't fully decided. I'll probably end the stream out and probably do an overlay real quick for us to get that taken care of. But we are gonna stream a little bit of something after this. But yeah, once we get all this podcast stuff uploaded and everything, you'll be able to see this upload on Apple Pods, Spotify, Google Podcasts, maybe Stitcher. We'll see where everything takes us, and you can also join our Discord. I'll put the Discord in a link in there too, with our Craved Gaming podcast Discord. We're going to probably convert the YouTube over to the Craved Gaming podcast YouTube because that's mostly where the stuff's going to end up being at. But right now, all we have for the podcast-wise is our Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. There's a lot of different channels. Trying to build a community there to where we can all just kind of hang out, have fun, and do our thing. Last thing I'll reiterate, too, from what I said at the beginning, we will have one more person joining us on this podcast from here on out. And we'll do introductions of him next week, and we'll let that go through next week. He can introduce himself, but I will say it was a pretty fun first podcast. Thank you for everyone who stopped by, all the listeners. We appreciate the support, the help, and everything. And anything else you want to say?
That's it, guys. I appreciate you stopping in as well. Much love, and follow us as we'll take over the world soon enough. I can already foresee it now. Millions of subscribers, millions of fans. Because we are just the epitome of podcasting, if I would say that. I can say that. I will say that.
I like it. Well, all right. I'll end it here, and thank you all for listening.
Thanks, guys.